Okay, we should be in better shape this time. All right, when everybody gets here, we'll start recording. Yeah. Welcome in when you get here. Hello, Joan. Hello, hello. Come on in. Hope everybody finds me. Hello, Ruth. Hello, Jessica. Hi, Peggy. Hi. It wasn't you, Dorothy. It was me. I'd like to say it was you, Dorothy, but it wasn't. It was me. It was on my end. Yes. Hi, Peggy. Hi. Linda again. Hello, Ava. Good to see you guys. All of you. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Come on in. Come on in. I'm just going to wait a minute. Sound okay this time? Hey, Purple Nana. No, it wasn't you. It was me. I'd like to blame somebody else, but it wasn't anybody else's fault but my own. You have to turn all the buttons on. If you miss one button, turning it on in the system, guess what? It doesn't work. Okay, thanks, Joan. So, what I asked you before, Joan, was did you have a good time with Patty and Xandra, which I imagine you did. Hello, Miss Ruth. Hopefully everybody will find us again. Sorry. My head's too full of but I'm sure coffee will help, don't you think? Oh, that's right, Dorothy. You are responsible for everything that's wrong. I forgot. You had a great time. Aw. That's great. Did they stay with you, or were you just hanging out together during the days? Not like it's any of my business whatsoever. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a busy day here. Coffee does make everything better. It does. Sometimes. Anyway, okay. So let's get started because I don't know how much of this we'll get done today, but let's get started. It's been a busy day already today. It's been a busy week. It's been a busy couple of years of my life. I know, right? Personal problems. Okay. When we were together on a Monday evening, we did a couple of sheets of paper. We did these 2 sheets of paper. So if you want to know how this was done, see the recording in the YouTube list before this one. Well, maybe not the one right before this, but the one full length that was on Monday. It's labeled. It would have been the 12th, I think, of May. They stayed at a hotel near you and spent days and evenings. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's cool. What a fun time, Joan. What a fun time. Hi, Rhonda. Sorry about that. Hey, Mickey. Rhonda, I've been praying for you, girl. Sure have. All right. So these are the papers. Ruth likes this one, of course. What we're going to do today is... That's fine, Rhonda. You just do whatever you need to do. Ruth's here. Ruth is here. And you know what? If I don't have any moderators here, I'll do it myself. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure it has been. I was going to say I can't imagine. And I can't imagine because I haven't walked in your particular shoes. You know, you can only walk in your own shoes. And even if the situations are identical, you know what? It's still not identical. So, yeah. Hello, Starla. So, you do in and out, and if you need to not be here, Rhonda, I get it. I get that. Yeah. Okay, so many of you know Natasha of Treasure Books. I noticed that she posted a video this week on weaving paper. I had already decided to do this before I realized she'd posted a video. So you might want to watch her video to see some other ideas as well. I didn't watch hers, so I don't know what she suggested, but we're going to do this way and go from there. Yes, I do know that, Rhonda. It is, and it sometimes is a sprint, and it is sometimes a marathon. It's all long. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can give you some comic relief when you have time, or just some relief. So, you can just, maybe you can put in an earbud and stick the phone in your pocket or something and walk around and, do not feel like you have to be responsible, Rhonda, at all. You just don't. You just don't. Be here when you want to. Even though your name shows up in blue, I can always take you off of blue if you'd rather. But if you're here and it gives you a breakaway, we're all about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do as far as weaving paper for this is, Cat Hand has another one on weaving paper. There you go. Good. Okay, so you got choices. And I know Janet M. Young has woven paper for a number of projects too. So here's what we're going to do. I really don't know what anybody else has done because I haven't watched what anybody else has done. I've watched Janet, so that wasn't a total truism. But what I'm going to do here, and I'm sorry I'm kind of off screen. Let's see if I get myself right in the middle of the screen. So it looks like I'm in the middle of the screen. I'm off center in my work. I need to adjust the camera, but not right now. So here, we'll solve that problem. I'll just get out of the picture. Then I can sit wherever I want to. Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to take this rotary cutter. You could use a pair of scissors. I like the rotary cutter. It's a small one. I think this is a 28 millimeter, I believe is the size of this, I'm pretty sure. And I am going to cut these strips. Now off screen, you can't see that up here at the top of my work surface, this is a quilting mat. This is also a rotary mat. Both of these are. Off screen, up here where I'm pointing, I have a piece of painter's tape which I just touched and moved, which I didn't really want to do. Okay, here it is, like this. And I have turned it so the sticky side is up. And I've turned the ends under, the short ends, I turned under so it can stick down to the mat. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of paper, and this is 9 by 12. And I'm going to do a kind of a gentle curve. And because there is so much stuff on this, occasionally I may lose the plot here. In other words, not cut a clean cut. And also my blade is probably not the sharpest. It's kind of like not the sharpest crayon in the box. This is probably not the cleanest, sharpest blade, so I'll give it a little more oomph on the next cut. Okay, the reason for using this small blade is because you can make the curves more easily. Okay, so I'm going to take this strip right here and I'm going to put it, it's important that I try to keep these in order for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just stick it up there in the tape. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut some more strips. All right, and I'm going to make them, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an inch wide or so, or wider. Okay, almost a clean cut. Pretty close. This particular blade that I'm using, I cut everything with. You're supposed to, it's like scissors. You're supposed to keep one cutter for fabric, one cutter for paper. Yeah, well, I don't do that. And I do for scissors. I'm real picky about scissors, but I don't do it for the rotary cutters, which I should, but I don't. So there you go. All right. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. There we go. Got it. And I'm going to keep the strips in order so you can see them kind of lining up so that they are in order. So this takes a minute, as most things. Now, I don't know how much of this will get done today, but we're going to give it a good try. If you want to make these strips wider, you can. If you want to make them straight, you can. For this particular technique, you do, however, want to keep them in order, okay? Almost. And I'm sorry about my voice. I have yet again encountered a potload, for lack of a more descriptive word, a potload of dust, and when I did, I didn't realize it quick enough to get a mask on my body, which is a dust mask. It's about the only time a mask is really good for something. Anyway, that's my opinion. Okay, and the damage was already done by the time I realized it. And at least I have a voice today for 2 days. You know what's not a good combination? It's not a good combination when you lose your voice, and I totally lost it. I mean, I was barely croaking. Didn't have a sore throat, just couldn't talk. What's not a good combination is a husband who doesn't hear all of the sounds and a wife who loses her voice. Although every man wishes that were the case. They all wish that you would lose your voice, don't you think? Okay, so anyway, that's what happened. So I've spent a couple of days repeating myself. And today I didn't have to do that, which is wonderful. Okay, let's see if we can get one more. Yeah, we'll see if we can get one more strip out of this. Okay, so I have kept the strips. I cut them with gentle curves. You can see the curves up there. Let me see if I can pull my mat down towards you. Okay. There you go. Okay, see the strips, the blue thing up here is tape, sticky side up. Okay. Now, in order to make this work, you got to remember to go the other way with the other piece of paper, which I promptly stuck down to the sticky tape. There we go. So I'm going to turn this one, turn the mat. I'm going to turn the page. Hello, Barbara. I know. You hate repeating yourself. Hey, Shoo. So I'm a little croaky yet, but at least today I'm talking. I didn't talk much at all today to speak of, so that I would save my voice for you guys. So we'll see how long it lasts and how well I do. I feel fine. It's not that. I feel fine. Okay, so we're going to go the opposite direction with this group. And again, you have to keep the strips in order. Okay? And can you do it with can you do this with scissors? Yes, you can. All right, let's move this over because I'm going to need all the room I can get over here. Okay. And pretty much as possible, I close the blade on the rotary cutter every time. You can make your strips different widths. You can, in fact, when I've taught classes in the past, we've cut much wider strips than this with the curvy lines. I think they're more interesting if you do narrower strips. And I tell this story pretty much every time I'm using a rotary cutter. The reason I close the blade every time I set it down, unless I lose my mind and totally forget, is because a friend of mine who was working in the same place I was working set the rotary cutter down, or someone did. I still don't know who did it. I was in charge of education in that store, and my rule was never, ever, ever put down the rotary cutter without closing the blade. And if you didn't close the blade and I caught you as a teacher, or the store owner was terrible about it, I mean, there was a consequence. Anyway, one of the gals, somebody had not closed the blade. I don't think she was the responsible person, and there was always junk on the table. I mean, a lot of it was good stuff, but sometimes it was junk, papers and threads and stabilizers and all kinds of stuff put on the table. And so that's another reason why I was such a stickler for close the blade on every rotary cutter. I mean, anytime I was in there, I was always checking, and most of the time having to close the blade. Anyway, she picked up a stack of stuff and dropped the rotary cutter off the table onto her foot, the top of her foot, and it sent her to the hospital because it fell from probably 3.5 feet up. It fell, and she ended up having to have surgery to put her foot back together because it cut some real important things. So you guys, there is a reason for closing your blade. You never know when somebody is going to interrupt you and you have to go, deal with a dog, deal with a kid, deal with another person, answer the door, answer the phone. You never know when something's going to interrupt you, and if this little weapon is not closed and you go to pick it up and you grab the wrong part of it, it's not going to be good. It is a cautionary tale, and it is one of those tales that It's one of those tales that I'm telling you, you really need to pay attention. You need to listen to Barb. And I need to take my own advice too. Yes. Okay, so now we have, all right, let me show you what we have. Let me get, you know, it doesn't make any difference how much room you have. You need more, right? You always need more room. I'm just trying to get this in before I show it to you. I'm just trying to show you, get it set up so you can see. Okay, so here's the vertical strips and here are the horizontal strips, but you can see that the pattern has been maintained, right? Okay, that's the important part about this. Keep the pattern, keep the strips in order. If you want the pattern to appear to be to go across the page, and I find that fascinating, so that's what I want it to do. All right, now I got to put my mat back. If you move stuff around, then you got to put it back. Oh, also, I was not able to do a VIP class for this last month, so I did one, and I wasn't here in April either, so I did a combined class for April and May, and I just thought I would show you these sweet little things. These are all 100% done by hand, no machine stuff done, but this was, here, let's just put these down here like this. Okay, finally. So I just thought I would show these little things to you. So these are from the VIP class. These originally I made them as to use as brooches or pin for a coat or a blazer or a denim jacket or that kind of thing. Anyway, they're all done by hand. So if you're a VIP member, that video went out to you, or the link to the video went to you before I ever left. So I'm just telling you that in case you missed it. Okay. Everything good here, you guys? So far, so good? Okay, thanks, darling. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to weave the strips. Okay? And I'm going to use this cruddy old board, but that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to kind of stick it underneath the strips. If you're doing this and you have plenty of room, you're not trying to do it under a camera, so much better. But, you know, I am under a camera, and I'm trying to keep it so you guys can see. So there you go. All right, we are going to take one strip, the leftmost strip, and the topmost strip, and all you have to do here is just get yourself started, and it may look super awkward to begin with, and that's okay, because it's okay for it to look awkward. And these two pieces of paper, even though we weave them together, are not necessarily going to come out to be totally even. Okay? That's the name of the game. They just don't. Okay. And then, so in order to set this up, I'm just going to do the over and under thing. So this one is going to go under, and I am using some tacky glue. And you just have to take your time when you do this stuff. You know, here's the thing. We are so used to things like Instagram. We are used to reels that only last for seconds. We're used to TikTok, which I never have watched, because I just whoops, that was the wrong way around. I don't want to, so there you go. I don't want to watch TikTok. Okay, hold on a minute. But we are used to things that are put together in seconds, which is why the whole concept of slow stitching, slow painting, slow whatever, slow quilting, slow embroidery. That's why it's so popular, right? Okay. So meanwhile, back at the desk, I have, and these colors, because they're lighter in tone, are going to be, you're not going to get a huge amount of contrast between them, and that is a-okay. That is a-okay. So the point of this spiel, and it's why Zen tangling, drawing mandalas, etc., it's why it is popular or has gained popularity, because we need to slow down. And you know, used to the slogan back in the day was slow down and smell the roses. We need to slow down and just enjoy life a lot more, you know? We just need to slow down. Okay, so we're going to put this one, yeah. Okay. All right, let's just continue, and we're just going to do the rest of the vertical strips here. Is there a right way or wrong way to do this? Maybe. Do I care? Nope, I don't. Because what I'm after is just the pleasure of doing it, the enjoyment of the thing. Okay, just the enjoyment of the thing. I'm watching my pattern, that it keeps slow down and do the art. Exactly, Starla. Okay, so this one is going to go on the top up here. You can set these up in any number of ways that you want to set them up. Just, you know, get it started. Just take your time, okay? Take your time and enjoy it. So I'm just peeling them off of my tape up there. Where I showed you how I put them on the tape. I'm just peeling them off, and I'm just choosing to set up the weaving situation. Let's call it a situation. I'm just setting up the whole thing, just enjoying and being appreciative of the fact that you guys were here when I did this, and we did it, you know, kind of did it together, and it, whoops, went the wrong way. That's the other thing. Sometimes when you're talking, I know you can't imagine this, but sometimes when you're talking, you don't exactly keep your head in the game. Yeah. So how have you guys been doing? Barbara Clark loves making weavings. I do too. It would take a lot of time, but Inking the edges, sand purple. Yes, you certainly can. If you want all the edges to show up, inking the edges is a great thing to do. Yeah. As Miss Ruth said, totally a great thing to do. And it is a lot more time consuming if you're gonna, and she's talking about inking all the edges of the strips. And that is going to take a lot more time. And you know what? If you're doing the slow stuff here, then what difference does it make if it takes you an extra half hour to do it? What difference does it make, right? Just enjoy the creating of the thing. Slow down. Just slow down. When you do slow down and do something like this, it gives you a chance to think. It gives your mind a chance to just calm itself, which is a very excellent thing for you to do. Keep your brain and your mind a little calmer. Some people, when they do the weaving, do not do all the gluing parts, or they'll glue after the whole process is done. They'll go in and add some glue, and I think I've done it that way too, quite honestly. But you know what? You get to do it the way that you like. I'm done with this piece of tape for now, so I'm going to throw it away. And if I discover in 2 or 3 minutes that, oh, I should have kept that tape, you know what? I have more. See? Okay, and then we have one piece left, and this one is going to go on the top. And the edges are not going to come out to be exactly the same. See? It's off by a little bit. And then it looks like this strip right here is pretty even up against the top strip, and so I'm going to go ahead and just put a little glue on the back of that one. It just helps to keep everything from going, you know, squirrely on you. Hello, Mama Juju. Good to see you. I love your name. Mama Juju crafting on the back. Mama Juju crafting on the back 40. Yes. Is Mama Juju Angie? If so, oh no, there's Angie. I see Angie's name. Okay, all right, so this kind of stabilizes everything, okay? And now I'm going to work off of this pile of strips over here. And so look, we'll see if I can weave. We'll see if I can do over, under, right? Okay, this one has to go under. Okay, so under. I'm telling you, basket weave can be a challenge. And I'm just gonna see if I can get all the strips in here. Over, under. We watched the Knights hockey game the other night. That was sad. It was sad that they lost the game. Unless you're a fan of the Oilers, and then you're very happy, right? Anyway, it was a late game. Elton's son and daughter-in-law live in Las Vegas. They were at the game, and so we were sad for them. They didn't get to see their team win, but you know, don't all win, do we? Okay. Now, I've got this in here where it's pretty tight. Okay, it's pretty tight with this strip. Hopefully it's going the right direction. If it isn't, we'll pretend it was. And then I'm just going to put a little glue here on the end. And I'm going to come over here and put a little glue on this end. I find it just kind of helps the structure of all these squirrely strips going together. And when this is done, because there's not a huge amount of contrast in the colors, it's going to have a different look. April is Mama Juju. Okay, April. Oh, I wonder if I'll remember that. I wonder if I'll remember. I will try. April, I'm Barb. So, in case I haven't met you before, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so I personally like to just kind of get the over under business going. Scooch it up and try to avoid the little spaces there if you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes things just go wonky, and I'm gonna zoom in. Now you got the process. Okay, and we'll bring this down so you can see. Okay. Sometimes you just get these little vacant spots, you know, these little squares there. And then what's nice is to have when you cut this whole thing up, which is what I'm going to do, and that's when you kind of run the risk of things kind of falling apart a little bit. And once in a while, it's also a good idea if you just periodically stick a little dab of glue here and there. Take a little spot. Now, this is presupposing that you have woven these correctly to this point. If you haven't woven them real accurately, then this part that I just did, where I just kind of tacked it in this place, kind of screws you. You were almost creamed by an out-of-control puck. Oh my gosh, Ruth. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you get to just watch me weave paper, and you can weave it like this time. I did exactly the opposite of what I told you I like to do, which is I like to start it and scoot it up, but you know, who cares? Yeah. So I had things I was going to tell you. Oh, I was going to tell you about. Did I tell you guys about Pepper? Did I tell you about Pepper the dog? I can't remember if I did. I don't think we did. I don't think I told you. Somebody write in the chat. Do you remember me telling you about Pepper the dog? It is kind of like basket weaving 101, which I'm not real good at either, by the way. I'm not great at basket weaving either. Rhonda doesn't remember. Okay, Starla doesn't remember. Okay, all right. I'll tell you about Pepper the dog. Okay, so we are... Okay, now before I tell you this story, okay, listen carefully. The story has a great ending. Okay? So before I tell you another word, the story has a good ending, a very good outcome. So keep that in mind as I'm telling you the story while I weave this paper. Okay. Everybody got it. Has a good ending. I'm liking how this is looking, actually. I like it. It has just enough chaos to be interesting. Okay. All right. Pepper the dog. Elton has 2 outdoor dogs. We have 1 indoor dog, who's my dog. She's inside because she's a city girl, and because she is really old. He has 2 outdoor dogs, and we have, because we lost Chance, my Siamese cat, we got immediately adopted by the neighbor's cats, and we already had 2 cats that were here. Elton already had 2 cats, and we got adopted by 2 more that the neighbors left in the place next door to us. They adopted us like immediately, and so we now have 4 outdoor cats. We live in we're surrounded by woods, and so having 4 cats is not a bad thing. Not at all, because then the cats kind of help a lot keep the varmint population at bay, which is great. Pepper is an Australian Shepherd mix. Clarence is the other dog, outdoor dog, and Clarence is a border collie. He is a big boy. Pepper, people often mistake for something she's not. She has a bit of a wild look about her, and she is a sweet dog. She's very, very old, and she belonged, or was chosen, adopted as a puppy. I don't know where she was adopted from, but she was adopted by one of Elton's kids when she was in college. And as college kids are prone to do, it's hard to take care of an animal. And so Pepper came home to live here long time ago. Pepper's been through a lot. I don't remember how, but she broke a leg and had to have surgery, and she's old. She's like 18 years old, and she's gimpy, but if you're 18, multiply that times 7. You are very sweet, Rhonda. To be real honest about those cats, we didn't have a choice. We didn't adopt them. They adopted us. They came, they stayed. They said, we're not leaving. You can try to shoo us away. We're not going anywhere. We're staying here. So actually, they're the angels because they adopted us. They sure did. And their names are Socks, because one of them is a tabby. They're both long-haired. Long-haired tabby, beautiful cat with 4 white feet, hence the name Socks. And the other one we renamed because its name was the same as one of the cats that already lived here, so we renamed it, and his name is Beckett. Anyway, okay, so we are getting ready to go on this trip, okay, that I just got back from. We got back from, and we had a pet sitter coming. And I won't bore you with all the details, and if Elton is listening, Elton, do not put in the chat every detail about this situation. Sometimes Elton doesn't know when not to share some details. And as I told you, this story has an absolutely good outcome, okay? Remember that as we're going. I like this chaos going on here. I do. Anyway, okay. So, Sunday night. Okay, we're leaving here Tuesday afternoon. It is Sunday night. I do not know why animals choose to do what they do, but they will do it every time they have a crisis. It's going to be on a Sunday night or Saturday night. We had a problem with Clarence several months ago where on a Sunday night where he couldn't close his mouth and he was trying to get something out of his mouth. That was a whole thing. I told that story a while ago. We had to take him to the vet. His body was okay, but he's, couldn't open or close his mouth, and it was a whole big thing. Sunday night, so you have to go to the emergency vet, and as about 5 minutes after they took him in the back, literally, they took him in the back, and before Elton could go park the car, I was coming from my house. This was back, must have been last summer. Before I got and I was on my way. I had just walked in the vet clinic because we were both afraid that it was a dire situation with him. And Elton went to park the car to get it out of the emergency drop-off kind of thing. So I was in there, was going to be able to get whatever news until he got back after parking the car. And before he got back, they had gotten the situation taken care of. He had a stick in his mouth back where he couldn't get it out. Always on a Sunday, right? Always on a Sunday. So Sunday afternoon late, and it also was cold outside that Sunday. I don't remember what the weather was doing, but some weirdness was coming in. Storm or something was coming in. I don't remember. Anyway, it was really cold. Like you needed to have a jacket on. Chilly. And Elton went out. He was trying to get yard work done so that when we left, because we were going to be gone for the better part of 2 weeks, when we got back, he wouldn't have so much yard work to do because we were going to have to bale. Well, not we. Elton was going to have to bale the grass and all of that if he didn't get it taken care of, right? Okay. So he's going out to do the weed, as he calls it, weed whipping. And he was going out to do that. And just as he picks up the weed whacker, whipper, whatever you want to call it, he picks it up. He goes out, and the dogs all follow him like, they're so excited when he's out there because they have access to the garage. They have fans. In the winter they have heaters. If it's real cold, they come inside. These are not abused outside dogs. Let me just tell you, they have plenty to eat. They have a myriad of very soft orthopedic, mind you, dog beds that they get to lay on, and they get treats with high-priced, really good dog cookies every night. They get a cookie. Sometimes they might get one at a night time that's not at night. I will not confirm nor deny that. Anyway, he is walking out. He's got the weed whacker machine in his hand. Pepper's behind him or in front of him or something. And he turns the corner to go. The machine isn't even on. And it turns the corner to go into the yard to start this procedure. And Pepper keels over. Okay? Remember, it has a good ending. Okay? Yeah. Absolutely keeled over. Well, I didn't see it happen because I was in the house. I was fixing dinner or something. I don't remember. I was doing something and I was in the kitchen, and I see Elton coming toward me to the kitchen window, and he signals to me to come outside. Okay, remember the dog is 18. I thought she was like 16 or 17. She's 18 years old. She's an old, old dog. And he comes to the window and signals to me to go outside. So I did. I go out. And he said, I think Pepper just died. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, oh no. And so I follow him. We go over, and boy, she's still breathing, but it is very labored. She's not doing well. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Okay, so to shortcut this story, because we only have 3 strips left. Yes. We have the great debate ensues because she's a big dog. She's half, or part anyway, Australian Shepherd. Supposedly she's Australian Shepherd and Beagle. She does not, to me, shows no evidence of Beagle in her whatsoever, but she looks more German Shepherd to me, but that's just because I'm more familiar with the German Shepherd breed. Anyway, she's laying on the ground. The ground is cold, and she is laboring. Her breathing is very labored, and we both are pretty sure we're gonna be saying goodbye to Pepper. And then we got her off the ground, got her over onto the concrete where it was not quite as chilly. And we're just being there, staying there with her because we're pretty sure we're saying goodbye to this dog. And then the question is, trying to get her picked up because she's big, trying to get her picked up and get her to the, our only choice is the emergency vet, unless we can call in a friend of ours who is actually my vet that we have a long history with, both of us. And so, I'm saying, well, do you think we could get a hold of him and maybe he could come out? Because we're pretty sure we are going to be putting her down that night, And so he doesn't have the phone number, and, we're having this great debate about this whole situation. And then Pepper kind of, although we think she is, at first, we think she is not long for this world at all. She kind of, she had her mouth open and the whole thing. And we've about decided she probably had a stroke. And, we're just having this long conversation about this whole deal. And what to do, and can't get a hold of the vet, and that's what you got to do. You got to take them to the emergency vet at the university, and the whole thing. Okay. All right, here's our last strip we're going to stick on here. Hey, Terry. All right, let's see if we can wedge this one in here. I don't know, just because I don't want to have it left over. That's why. Okay, there's just hardly enough here to make it go in there. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just leave that. Yeah, we'll leave that. Okay, let's just go ahead and glue these together. Okay, so Miss Pepper is laying on the ground, breathing so hard, but not evenly. I'm pretty sure that we're saying goodbye to her. And she didn't seem to be in a lot of pain, but you can't really tell. And it just was a whole thing. And by the time we have decided that we're maybe going to have to go ahead and somehow get her in the van and take her in and to the clinic and all this stuff, she kind of lifts her head just a little bit. She kind of blinks at us a little bit. And I'm like, and so I start talking to her, we're talking to her and patting her and stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe she's going to come around. So I thought, well, I'm going to go get something. We'll find out if she's alive, if she's going to recover, if she's interested in something real stinky to eat. So I went in and I had cat food. And so I went in and I wet cat food at that. So I know it's not good for dogs, so don't even start in on me about it's just a terrible thing to do. She's 18. We thought she was dying. And so went in, got this thing of cat food, brought it out, put it under her nose, and she goes. And she raises her head up and she starts lapping the cat food. It was a small little can of cat food. It was expensive cat food, mind you. That's probably why it's probably what revived her, expensive cat food. Anyway, so she ate it all. And the more she lapped it out of the can, the more she was kind of coming around. And we're just watching it. I mean, because we watched this dog where we think she is absolutely she is expiring. She is going to go away. We are not going to have her anymore. She's doing this right before we leave on this trip. Darn dog. How can you do this? All of that. And she starts kind of coming around. I'm like, this is bizarre. And then Elton says, do you have any more of that cat food? And I said, yep. So I go and get another can of cat food. Because she's had a remarkable response to it. So I go get another can of expensive cat food. Bring it out. It's the kind that you buy at the vet. It's that kind. It's not the grocery store kind. It's the kind you buy, the prescription cat food. And all I'm doing at this moment is taking the little places that kind of bubbled up a little bit, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue under some of them and just letting the glue kind of firm up a little bit while I tell you this story that has a good ending. Well, we don't really know what was going on, to tell you the truth. We went from she's going to die, then she's had a stroke, and she passed out. Then dehydration was a thought. We just went through the whole list of possibilities, right? Whole list of possibilities. I don't know if I brought my ruler here. I'm going to have to take a break here in just a second and go get a rotary ruler because I don't think I have my ruler here in order to cut straight. Anyhow, so Miss Pepper ate 2 cans of wet cat food, and she's like, and we're having to keep Clarence away from this because he's like, I want me some of that. And I'm like, Clarence, you got to get away, buddy. This is not about you. And his lot in life, he lives for chasing a frisbee. And so Elton would throw the frisbee and Clarence would go chase it, and then we'd tend Pepper, and then he'd bring back the frisbee and we'd have to get the frisbee, and he won't just give you the frisbee. Part of the fun for him is the wrestling of the frisbee. And so it was kind of a 3-ring circus for a little bit. Anyway, so I think we gave her a total of 3 little cans of cat food. And then she stood up. Now, when she stood up, she was not steady. She was kind of staggering around, and I'm like, oh man, she really did have a stroke. This is really bad. This is terrible. You know, I mean, I'm not crying, but I'm close, you know. And we're still having this huge debate about, you know, how bad this situation is. Okay, while you cogitate on that for a moment, I gotta go get a rotary cutting ruler so I can cut these straight. Can you hang on for a moment? I will be right back. So if anybody says, where's Barb? I'll put you down at the desk so you can look at this weaving situation we got going on, and I'll be right back, okay? Okay. My sewing room, which used to be right beside the studio, is now at the other end of the house. So when I have to go get something, it takes a minute. So she gets up and she's really kind of staggering around. I'm thinking, oh, you know, we really are going to have. I mean, the debate was, we're going to have to take her in. We're going to have to take her in. The longer she was up walking around, the better she got. It was like, to start with, she couldn't control her feet or her legs. Kind of like a baby horse, you know, when they first stand up. That's what she looked like. And I'm like, and we got to the point where we just watched her. And she was kind of whimpering a little bit. And I think we gave her a total of 3 or 4 cans of cat food that night, which it's like, you know, if she's going to die, the wrong kind of food is not going to be a big deal at this point, you know. At least she's going to be happy because she never got cat food. So anyway, to make a very long, drawn out story shorter, she started walking better, and we're like, okay. But, you know, the chances of this happening again, pretty great. Maybe we should go ahead and make the appointment and take her in tomorrow. And she probably won't live through the night, but she's going to be happy, you know, the whole thing. Well, to make a long story short, she made it through the night. So the next morning, we had decided that he was going to take her in the next morning to the vet, and he was going to go ahead and let her go. Well, the next morning he went and took my dog for a walk, and Pepper walked with him I think she went to the end of the driveway or something. You know, she wasn't 100%, but she wasn't awful either, right? There you go. Rhonda says she can just see one day all of my dogs dropping over for cat food. It could happen. I have a reserve. I have a stash. So we went ahead and we made a plan because we were leaving the dogs with a sitter. We had a plan in place. We had a neighbor that was going to take care of the situation if it had to be taken care of, and you know, but we just couldn't quite just make the decision to put her down, because her tail was kind of waggy. She seemed okay. I mean, she's weak in her back end, but so is Muppet, so am I, I hope somebody doesn't decide to put me down just because of that. Anyhow, so Monday, we watched her. I go to town. I buy canned dog food, so it's formulated for dogs, because we've decided that maybe dehydration might have been part of it. She has access to water, great big bucket of water all the time, but maybe she wasn't drinking. Maybe the other dog was keeping her away from. We didn't know. So I decide go get canned dog food, because if she's gonna die, let's let her die happy. So I go get 2 pallets of canned dog food and bring it home, fed her a can of it, and she is like, what is this, and where has this been all of my life? Yeah, she liked it. Okay, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I think this is firmed up enough. I think it's firmed up enough that we can go ahead and cut it. I have spot glued some of the strips here and there, so hopefully it doesn't all just totally come apart as we cut the pieces. And I'm looking for a mat here. I'm trying to decide. I have black mats that I'm going to put underneath these, because that's going to hide any of the I'll get it out here in a minute. I'm trying to do 2 things at once, and we all know that doesn't work very well. I'm trying to get some card bases out of the box. All right, let's take one of these. Okay, so if we put this, I'll finish telling you the story in just a minute. So if we put this under here, and we put this over here like this. Okay, so let's go 1/4 of an inch smaller than. I always have to figure this stupid thing out because I never can remember. Okay, so we're going to go 3 3/4 by 5. Barb needs to write this down so I remember it. Okay, 3 3/4 by 5 inches. That's what we want. Okay? All right. And we're going to start from this end, or this end. Maybe we'll go on this end because I like the way that the colors are down here better. So what I'm going to do, just so that before I get back to finishing up this story about Pepper, which has a good ending, I'm going to straighten this up. Just going to straighten the whole thing up. It came out a lot more square than I expected that it would. Yeah, it's more square than I thought it was. Okay, let's just take this and even this up. Okay, get rid of all the little strips. And then, so 5, so we need, of course not, okay, this one, okay, that's the way we're going to be able to do it. Okay, so we're going to go, this is the 5 inch, okay, so we're going to go 3 3/4 this way. Alright, so we get that one, and then we'll get 2 5s. Math is not my strong suit, you guys, that's okay. Okay, we're going to go 3 3/4 this direction. I got to do this part, so this requires brain. This requires brain, and so I must not try and tell a story while the brain has to be engaged. Okay, so we're going to go 3 3/4. All right, that's it. Okay, and we're going to go. Told you the part about never lay your rotary cutter down with the blade exposed, which is what I just did. So you're going to pretend that I didn't do that, okay? Okay, 3 3/4. All right. Okay. All right, and then we're going to go 10 inches because then we can cut the other one at 5. Okay, that's the way I want it. Okay, so we're going to do this. And be prepared to do a little repair on your weaving if you need to. Always pull the part that you cut off away from the ruler before you move the ruler. That way, you know, if you have to make another cut, you haven't moved anything. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we have that one. We have this one. And you may get some little stragglers of paper here and there, and that's all right. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to cut 10. And you'll have pieces left over for this. And so you can either use those pieces to make some collage cards or some interesting card type situations, or you can use them for bookmarks or what have you, or ATCs. Okay, there we go. So we have 4 card fronts, and I already have some black mats cut, so we have 4 of those, because look at me, once in a while I actually prepare myself ahead of time. So let's decide on some colors, and we'll go back to the story about pepper here in a minute. Okay, so there's one with yellow. Let's see what other colors I have here. Here's a green. Got glue on my hands. Alright, so here is one with green. Here's a blue. Let's see what this blue looks like. Kind of a gray blue. Blue-gray. Maybe blue-gray is more appropriate. So there's a blue. Okay, so we got yellow, green, blue-gray, and what else do we have? Is this the same color green? No. Okay, then we have this green that we can put this on. I like that color green. Let's see if I have another one of those. I do. So we can replace this one. All right. What else do we have? Let's see if I have any other better blues. I have this robin's egg, but yeah, I don't know. It might. Okay, do you like the robin's egg blue? Okay, there's the robin's egg blue. Or there's the gray blue. Which one do you guys like better? We'll put it half on each one. Tell me which one you like best. Now, understand there's not going to be very much of that color that shows. What color do you guys like? The robin's egg or the gray blue? Gray blue? Hi, Dana. You like the gray blue? Okay. Okay. That works. Okay. We'll call that good. All right. We'll do those. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue all the little sticky outy bits, and I'm going to ink with cobalt blue. Cobalt blue. Okay, so we'll ink around the edges. Okay, so back to the story about Pepper while I do this. We have decided that the secret to dogs when they're trying to fake you out is cat food. We made a plan because we had to go on this trip because we had people coming to spend time with us, and we were picking them up at the airport in Denver. And so, you know, it was one of those deals where we couldn't exactly say, oh, sorry, you know, we don't care how many hundreds or thousands of dollars, hundreds anyway, you've spent on your plane reservation. It was just a horrible situation in those moments. And so consequently, we made a plan. We had everything in place. So if something happened to Pepper, that the pet sitter wasn't going to have to deal with it. We had a plan in place and everything was set. And Monday she was okay, and she seemed to be getting better on Monday. And so we're like, okay, let's go ahead and get ready. We were here Tuesday. She still seemed like she was pretty good shape on Tuesday. And, you know, we've given her canned dog food a couple times, and she's happy as she can be with canned dog food because, you know, she just really, really was. Okay, so we're going to put this right here for a moment. And oh, somewhere here I have something heavy. Here, okay. We're going to put this upside down, and I'm going to put something on top of it. And I'm just going to let that, make sure that dries a little bit. Okay, and let's keep going here. So on Tuesday, it was late Tuesday when we left. She was in good shape. We have a plan in place. The pet sitter understands the situation. She's okay with it. Everybody's good to go. We leave. We say our goodbyes because she may not be here when we come back, although she seems like she's awfully happy. And so we leave and we go about our trip, much to the dismay of a couple of people in our lives. And I understand everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Indeed. Sometimes you just have to know when, sometimes you have to know when, I don't know, sometimes you just have to know. Anyhow. Okay, So we're gonna put that there. Yeah. Sometimes decisions are difficult, right? Anyway, so we check with the pet sitter multiple times while we're gone. Pet sitter says she's doing great. She's eating food. She's real happy. You know, she even kind of wags her tail a little bit. Everything's good. And we're like, okay, well, that's excellent. And we're gone for the next, you know, it was almost 2 weeks we were gone. 12 days. Got back. Pepper greets us as we get back. Okay? She greets us in the driveway. Like, I'm so happy. I've been getting canned dog food. I'm a happy girl. And the next day, Elton has been taking the dogs, Muppet in particular, he's been taking her for a walk every morning, and then most of the times 1 or 2 of the dogs and 1 or 2 of the cats go with him. And Pepper doesn't always go, but sometimes she does. And so he, the first day, I don't think she went with him. I think it was just him with Muppet and a couple of cats, and Clarence went. You know, they kind of have their early morning routine. They take their walk together. And second day, Pepper decides to go with them. And so she got as far as the neighbor's driveway, and she cut off down the driveway down to the neighbor's house. So apparently there's something at the neighbor's house, probably cat food, because that's where the cats used to live that adopted us. She went up the driveway and waited, either that or she just didn't want to go, and she waited until Elton and the rest of them came back. And once they came back to the driveway, she came out, and the dog, who 2 weeks before that had keeled over, runs down the driveway wagging her tail all the way home. 18-year-old dog that we thought was a goner runs down the driveway back home. She is bright. She has gained weight. She's bright-eyed. She's wagging her tail. She is as happy as she can be. The dog has been reborn. She and Muppet split. I can't, because Muppet's as old as she is. Almost. Not quite, but almost. And so we don't know. We keep joking that we have a hospice going here for animals, and we lost Chance. So he was gone. He was older than the 2 dogs. The 2 dogs are right close to the same age. Anyway, so we don't know what will happen. But at this red hot moment, these animals are all happy. They're all old, but they're all happy. Elton and I are old. And we're happy. So there you go. So Miss Pepper is still with us. She gave us a real good scare. She is still with us. And yeah, there were some people, like I said, that did not agree with our decision about going off and leaving her with a pet sitter, but we didn't feel like we had much choice on that deal. And when we came back, She'd had a good 12 days without us, and she's had a good however many days since we've been back with us. So there you go. So like I said, I wanted you to know before I ever told you this story that it had a very good ending, because there were parts of it that didn't sound like they were going to be very positive at all. Yes, Rhonda, the key to life, if you're a dog, is cat food. That is exactly what we said. It's like, well, apparently that is the magic elixir. We will not tell the vet, because the vet will not agree with our choice to do that. But we thought she was a goner. Anyway, there you go. That's the story of Pepper. Okay, so we now, in all of that jibber jabber, all I've done is gone in and I've glued all the, kind of glued the edges or the ends of things together. Sometimes you'll end up with like a little tiny strip there like that. You pretty much have to glue that in place, otherwise it's going to just fall out. So I've kind of glued around things, and there's a corner here that's missing. Can you see that? And we're going to call that art because I don't know where that little strip went. So we're going to call it art and be done with that. So we have a green card. We have two green ones. We have a yellow one. Okay, where's my mat for this one? Here. Okay, so we have two green ones, a blue one, and a yellow one. Good enough. Okay? All right, so to finish these up, let's quickly, I'm just going to add some blue ink around the edge of the woven pieces. Now, can you go buy a card at the store a lot quicker than you can make these cards? Yeah, you sure can. It's going to cost you a lot more money than what it cost me to make these once I have the supplies. Now, if I have to go buy the supplies in order to save money making cards, people, that is flawed logic right there. But if you already own the supplies, okay, if you own the supplies, and I've just put just a little blue halo of blue ink. I didn't ink it a whole lot. Bye, Joan. Thanks for coming. Glad you had such a good time with Patty and Xandra when they visited. That is wonderful. I'm just a little jealous, but I'll get over it. I wish you could feel the texture of this paper. There is something about using the iridescent medium on these papers that it just gives it the most wonderful texture. The feel is completely different than it is, because this was just drawing paper, so I think it was 80-pound paper or something. I mean, it wasn't very heavy at all. But that iridescent medium, it's a Liquitex iridescent medium, almost has a little bit of it's almost a leathery kind of feel. Anyway, iridescent medium by Liquitex is not a super expensive product. But I think it's definitely a worthwhile investment, personally. Yeah. And you can buy it in the tube, or you can buy it in a bottle. I would recommend that you buy it in the tube. I think the texture is thicker. So that's what I would do. I've gone through several tubes of iridescent medium. I really like it a lot. Okay. Let's, I'm going to use, where is my tape? This is the, here, okay. there's a problem when you move houses, because when you organize yourself, sometimes you don't organize yourself in the same way you were organized before, and then you're like, at the other house the tape was not to outthink myself, here's the tape. I didn't think I was going to be able to find it. That's okay. I found it. Okay. Let's commence. Let us commence making cards, shall we? Okay, what I'm going to use is, this is like score tape, but it is not score tape. This is the stuff that Nick the Booksmith uses. It's from Amazon. It's kind of a no-name kind of tape. It's very reasonable in price. So if you want to know what she uses, go to Nick, N-I-K, the Booksmith, and it's in her list of supplies or tools. I've forgotten which. Anyway, that's where I learned about it, and so she deserves to get the credit for that, although I hope she's doing okay. I haven't seen her online for quite some time. And so this tape is just super stuff. It's very sticky, but very reasonably priced, and you get a whole bunch of it in different widths is how I bought it, in some kind of package that had a bunch of different widths. Okay, so here's my black mat, and the card bases are pre-folded. I buy them at the craft store. And card bases and envelopes, I buy them that way. I like them that way because I don't know, some people really enjoy making their own cards and they'll buy the envelopes, but they like to make their own card bases so they can make them vertical or horizontal or whatever. I gotta tell you, I'd rather not do that. Okay, let's see if we can kind of, like I said, this has a corner missing, and we're gonna call it art. Okay, and hopefully this will come on here to be kind of straight. I am not known for mounting my cards with the most straight and accurate accuracy. And we have a little piece of a little teeny ragged piece of the weaving sticking up, so we're gonna put a little glue stick on it, stick it back down. Okay, there we go. And for some reason I had a little piece of the tape, the sticky part of the tape, that wanted to poke out. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, all right, here's the blue-gray one. And I don't really need the score tape for that one, or not score tape, but the heavier tape, so I'm just going to use the ATG tape runner. I find that the other tape is better for something that's heavy or uneven in the surface. And this is good enough for everything else. Okay, and then we're going to take this and then we're going to try again to mat it or get it stuck on here about as straight as possible. And then the beauty of these little cards is you can open them, you can make them be horizontal or vertical, whatever you wish to do. For whatever reason, it seems like it wants to go this way for me. I don't know. And then if I decide later I want to ink around the edges, I can. It's not perfectly straight on there, but you know what? It's handmade. It is. The art monster is always eating something around here, isn't it? Okay, let's stick these other ones together. If you're bored and don't want to see it, hey Devin. I gotta tell you though, I love the woven papers. I really do. So let's do this one again. I'm gonna use the heavier tape. Some people don't mind tearing the tape. Some people use scissors to cut the tape. I'm not going to use scissors, but I find that if I have something to tear the edge of it against, like this little ruler, I don't end up tearing the paper off the back of whatever I'm doing. And invariably, if I try to tear it with my fingers, I end up tearing I'll pull the back off of my card back instead. And I'm just going to stick one piece right down here. And we're just going to give it a good zhuzh with the Teflon folder, bone folder, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take this off and bend back the corners, opposite corners of your release tape, your release paper from the tape. That way you've got a better shot at centering it on your mat. That's not a guarantee that I still won't put it on crooked, but some people are just really, really, really good at putting things on straight. I'm not. Tilt your head. That is a really good suggestion. All right, if you can get right over the card base, or the mat in this case, if you can get right over it, it helps, and line up as best you can. Poke down the corner on one corner, kind of get the other one, you know, and then finish pulling off the release tapes. And then if you turn it over actually the other way, then you don't run the risk of catching the weaving. Okay, good enough. It's not perfect. Life is not perfect, folks. Life is not perfect. It's good, but it's not perfect. Perfection, highly overrated. To quote Dina Wakley and others, done is better than perfect. Okay, now making sure that I have, in this case it doesn't really matter because there's no word on it or anything yet. Good enough. And then if you want to, I can add a word before I send it to somebody. I can decide which way I want it. Okay, so we now have 2 of them. So let's, if you want to hang in here, I will finish the other two. Okay, so let's do these. Again, let's just, since both of these are green, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape both of these at the same time. If I have any edges that, or any ends that don't want to stick down, then I'll just, you know, grab the glue stick or the tacky glue or whatever and just give them a little help. This is really sticky tape. I've also seen people put this roll of tape around their wrist and work from their wrist, you know, like put this, and I'm like, I tried that one time and I'm like, I never did master that. I guess I just don't do it enough, but I never did master that little art. But you know, here's the deal. I make lots of different things. Well, I did. I admittedly do not do quite as much as I did at one point, because the most creative thing I've been doing lately is deciding what to keep and what not to keep. Going to Goodwill and making trips to the dumpster. Okay, so there's that one. Let's do this one. You love that yellow one? Good. That's cool. I'm glad you like it. But when I am finally settled in one spot only, and I am back to doing what I normally love to do, which is creating full time, then I do lots of different kinds of things. I don't specialize in one deal. Like, I'm not a painter only. I'm not a sewer only. Or sewist. Is that the word, sewist? I don't even know what that is. Sewist. Anyway, you know, that's not my thing. I would be bored to death if I only did one thing. So I just, you know, have to rely on good enough. You know, that's what I have to rely on. It's good enough. Now, I never intend to make things in a sloppy way, but I also have had to relax and not have my standard for myself so high that I never allow myself to finish anything. Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, once again, we're gonna see if we can get these on here. Hopefully I cut the mat straight to begin with. Poke down one corner that's without tape and the other one, then you can pull the backing tapes off. Now remember, what we started with this whole thing on Monday night was this stamp, which was gratitude. Gratitude is the great equalizer of many things. If we can stay grateful, we can stay in gratitude, it really helps us in so many ways. Okay, so let's stick this one on and we'll do the other one, and then we will be done with this exercise, and I will have some cards ready to add a word or a quote or a message. And I don't always add, I don't always add the words ahead of time. Sometimes I just wait and add that at the time that I need the card for something. Okay, so there's our card. All right, let's see if we can get this on here. It's relatively straight, and that's usually when I sign them also, when I send them out. Okay, so we have that one, and we have one more to stick down. Elton, I told you. He's not listening, is he? I left that part of the story out. On purpose, Elton. Okay, in case any of you know or don't know, if you haven't figured out by this point in time, the man that I married 7 months ago, yes, it's been 7 months, is incorrigible. He is 100% incorrigible. Can't control him. Wouldn't want to, but you can't control what he says. The standard phrase used by the pet sitter, whom I've known for a long time, is, and she says it frequently, she says, "Oh, Elton." Yeah. So even though I gave him that message specifically that I wasn't going to tell every single part of the story, yeah. So in unison, what we're going to say is, "Oh, Elton." Okay? My little 3-year-old great-granddaughter fell in love with him. 100% fell in love with him on our trip. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. And so she got to where she and Papa Elton were good buddies. They planted wildflowers together. He took her up the street to see the moose that we thought was going to kill us, that didn't. Yeah. They got to be good buddies. All right, we got one last card to stick together. I'm ready to put it down here. All right, you ready? Let's see if we can get it on here kind of straight-ish. Good enough. Good enough is good enough. But when she would even get kind of upset with him about something at 3.5, because you know they don't understand adult humor and adult anything, and I'd say, "Oh, Elton," and so she got to where that's what she'd say too. "Oh, Elton." She's a funny little kid. Okay, so yellow, blue gray, and 2 green ones, using the same 2 pieces of paper that we created on Monday night, and we cut them apart, wove them back together, but they're cut in wonky, curvy shapes. Wove them back together, cut them out, made card fronts out of them. Bob's your uncle. We have cards. Okay. So did he say anything else? Oh, Elton. Exactly. He's broke buying dog food. Wah, wah, wah. It's your dog. Buy it dog food. It's not my fault your dog lived to be so old. It's my fault my dog lived to be so old. All right, you guys, I'm going to take off. We made it before 3 o'clock today, so there you go. I hope you have a really good rest of your day, your week, your weekend, whenever you're watching this. If you're watching for the first time, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. And I will see you when I see you, which should be this coming Monday night. Thanks for your patience as I got started. That was my fault. I didn't hit all the buttons. Oh well. Yeah, such as it is. All right, remember to get creative today. You know, it's easy. I'll see you before you know it. Bye for now. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.